the Bullet Bill. An enemy that looks like a bullet, but is a lot slower than a real one and nowhere near as dangerous. Now, they are usually under Bowser's control and act as enemies of Mario since their debut in Super Mario Bros. And so, throughout the years, we've seen a lot of different versions of them, and I covered their journey in the franchise already in my Evolution of series. However, I've never shared with you my favorite types of Bullet Bills, because they weren't created equally and some are certainly more interesting than others in my opinion. So today we will find out what my top 5 favorite versions are. Let's dive right in. Number 5. Hey, Dr.Wily here. I got a great announcement! The Dr.Wily Discord server is officially revived. From next week onward, we will do trivia games every week on the server, as well as a big hangout call every month called H-Fest. And of course, I will host these. The trivia game will be every Thursday and H-Fest on the last Wednesday of the month, both at 9 PM Central European Time. So join now and be sure to not mute the server so you won't miss it. The link to it can be found in the description and at the top of the comment section. Now, the very first one on this list is a bit of an odd one, and that's actually why I like it. The whole idea is so odd that I adore it. The Sniper Bill, an abomination of an enemy that is also extremely ironic, and I bet Nintendo put it into the game for just that reason. It's a large, flexible bullet bill that appears in Mario & Luigi Superstar Saga and also its remake. They wear brown fingerless gloves and wield super scopes, holding them in a manner akin to a sniper's positioning. So they're basically a special type of bullet bill that doesn't get shot out of a cannon themselves, but does the shooting for once. It took control of its own life and decided, I don't want to be flying through the air with speed, I want to become an elite sniper. And so it did, taking on Mario and Luigi by firing smaller bullet bills from their super scope to take them out. But at some point they do realize what their fate is and still fly towards the heroes just like a regular bullet bill. Now, in my opinion, they're really cool because it's so ironic and strange. A bullet using a rifle of sorts to shoot at you. Besides that, they are fine enemies. Nothing too special about them, to be honest. They aren't very difficult to take on. The only thing that could surprise some players when they first see this odd thing is that he will fly at you as well, doing more than just shooting. The second attack can be quite a shocker for some, but personally, I like it. The whole enemy is a bit of a joke, clearly, but doesn't forget about its roots, acting like any other of his kind. Number 4. Now, in the beginning of the series, we mostly fooled around on land, making our way to Bowser's castle or wherever he was hiding. But as the series went on, Nintendo started to expand the underwater sections more and more, where the bullet bill also started to play a role. Now, of course, they would have to change to an extent, which they did, getting a bit of a new look and way of getting around in the water. They are called torpedo tits and are dropped in the water by a device called Torpedo Hashadi. Hashadai? Anyways, these things basically replace the Bill Blasters. Now, while they look different, they are still relatives of the Bullet Bills, so of course they look alike to an extent. But the biggest difference is the propeller on the back, which is their new way of getting around. And they are also really tough, because you can't stomp on things underwater, and bullet bills are fireproof, so most of the time you will be avoiding them. Now, while they first appeared in Super Mario World and weren't seen a whole lot in other games afterwards, there's one title where I absolutely love them. In Super Mario Galaxy. Here they are exclusive to Boy Base Galaxy and Drip Drop Galaxy, and in my opinion play a really fun role, chasing and harassing you in underwater sections, which are way more open now because of the 3D world. This made them fun and a real challenge in the game. It's certainly the best example of why they are a cool bullet bill type, but sadly enough they weren't seen that much in the entire series. So even though I like them a lot, I don't get to enjoy them that much. I hope they will return in the next 3D Super Mario game, because I think they could play a really cool role in the title like Super Mario Odyssey 2, if that ever happens. Number 3. While the bullet bills are fun and all, they are kind of the same in every game, only being seen in a different setting which changes them. However, at some point, Nintendo also started to come up with other ideas that seem quite obvious when you think about it. They started to combine certain enemies together with power-ups, which we started to see in the previous generation, the Wii U and 3DS. Here we see one version that's not that interesting, the tail bullet bills from Super Mario 3D Land, who just do a spin every now and then while flying. In my opinion, this kind of sucks. However, in the console game known as Super Mario 3D World, we see a type that's better and quite fun. The cat Bullet Bill, who uses a Super Bell power-up. Now, just like the normal versions, they still fly around and are shot from a Bill Blaster. However, they have a new trick up their sleeve. However, they're not the best at it compared to every other Bullet Bill type, but it's still cool. They will lock onto you when they see you, following your every move, which kinda makes them similar to Missile Bills, which are also pretty cool. However, they are a bit worse than them, because they are limited when it comes to movement. They can only follow a horizontal path, which allows you to jump on them quite easily. However, while they are limited when it comes to this, they do look a lot better, and taking them out is way more rewarding, because they will sometimes drop a Super Bell when defeated, giving you a reason to take them out instead of just running away. So their design is cool, they can give you an amazing item, and are still challenging, more than the tail Bullet Bills. In general, I like them a lot. So as you can imagine, I'm very happy that they are in Super Mario Maker 2 now. Number 2. Now, at some point, Nintendo looked at the Bullet Bills and came up with an amazing idea to make them more challenging. Well, they couldn't really make them a lot faster because it would become quite unfair at some point. There was another option. And when you think about it, it does make sense. Making huge variations of them. And so enemies like the Bandsaw Bills were born, being seen from Super Mario World onward. Their attack pattern usually consists of the following: being shot somewhere off screen, and a firing sound is played to alert the players that they are coming. And then they travel towards the player in a straight line. And your only task from that point onward is to avoid it by either jumping on a higher platform or ducking in lower areas of the stage. No matter what you do, it's best to get out of the way quick. That's what I like about them so much. As soon as you hear the cannon, you know something is coming towards you, and you're screwed. And as soon as you see him, you're likely going to panic a bit, because a gigantic bullet is coming towards you. So all of a sudden you need to be quick on your feet and get out of the way, or you will pay the price, potentially getting a game over if you mess up even. In my opinion, it just works really well. Sure, its design is still the same and the overall idea is a bit simple, but it works so incredibly well, really creating this sense of urgency and fear. Great examples of this are seen in Super Mario World, where it can really catch you off guard and ducking is your best option. And the great thing about it is that Nintendo uses it a lot in their games, although it did lose the surprise factor at some point, but I still like it. Number 1. Now, remember how I told you about that one option of making the Bullet Bills bigger to make them more difficult to get past? Yes? I mean, seems logical since I talked about it, a couple of seconds ago. Well, for our number 1, I have a type of them that takes this concept to the next level. Probably because the Bandsaw Bill was used too much, becoming well known and therefore expected in the games. And I gotta say, this updated version is a bit scarier compared to the previous one, because it doesn't care at all. I'm talking about the King Bills, the best of the best Bullet Bill and apparently leader of them all. Unless the definition of the word king has changed in the last couple of years. It was first seen in New Super Mario Bros. Wii and has a great design in my opinion. The best in the entire series. I especially like the red highlighting all over its design, as well as the funny and goofy grin, which is really different from the Bandsaw Bill's menacing grin. And these things are the largest known Bullet Bills in the entire Mario franchise, being way bigger than the Bandsaw Bills, almost taking up the entire screen. So as you can imagine, these are even harder to dodge than the already gigantic Bandsaw Bills, having a similar effect, but being even worse. In World 9-8 of New Super Mario Bros. Wii, for example, we get to experience this firsthand, with a ton of them coming at you from all angles. And since they are so big, dodging them can be extremely difficult. And the scariest thing of all is that they go through everything in their path. They just don't care about stuff like brick blocks, which makes them even scarier than the Bandsaw Bills. They're way bigger than them, and there's nothing that's able to stop them. That's why they are the best in my opinion. They're a real powerhouse and their design is the best out of all the Bullet Bill types for sure. Now in the end, I like these enemies a lot. They're cool hazards that can come out of nowhere and truly ruin your day. And if they follow you, they can also be useful to the player. Even in a game like Super Mario Odyssey, we saw Nintendo do completely new things with them, which were quite surprising in my opinion. Who knew that these enemies could be used to get around the world to collect power moons? or serve as the main vehicle of a small, fun rocket course where you need to dodge certain obstacles. It's just amazing. And now all of you know my favorite ones. But remember, there are more videos in the upper right corner, specifically an evolution of video on them.